We live in a world quietly governed by invisible forces, a realm where decisions of immense consequence are made not in boardrooms or courtrooms, but within the silent, complex logic of algorithms. These automated systems are the new gatekeepers of modern society, operating behind a veil of code to determine who gets a chance and who is left behind. Think about the last time you applied for a loan, a job, or scrolled through your newsfeed. The chances are high that an algorithm was the primary arbiter, sorting, ranking, deciding your fate, based on vast data sets and intricate calculations that remain largely hidden from public view. This isn't science fiction. It is the mundane reality of the 21st century, where software has transcended its role as a mere tool and has begun to exercise a form of authority over our lives. They are used to recommend bail, recommend parole conditions, shaping the very freedom of individuals. They filter job applications, deciding who gets an interview and who is automatically discarded. But what happens when the decision maker is a black box? This term refers to an artificial intelligence system whose internal workings are so complex that they are opaque even to the people who created them. We are simply told, "The system decided," a response that offers no explanation, no recourse, and no true accountability for the outcome. This brings us to the big debate right now. Should algorithms be auditable like financial records? The argument for auditing algorithms begins with a recategorization of what these systems do. It is no longer just a tool. It is performing an act of governance. Consider the parallels with financial markets. We require auditable records because they affect market stability. We require auditable records because they can conceal fraud and systemic risk. We require auditable records because the public's trust depends on integrity. Today, algorithms hold a similar position. They are instruments of power. One of the most compelling reasons for algorithmic audits is the insidious nature of bias, Unlike the overt discrimination of the past, algorithmic bias is often invisible, hiding within the complex architecture of code and data. An algorithm might be forbidden from using race, but it can easily learn to use a person's zip code as a powerful proxy. Furthermore, algorithms can create and perpetuate bias through feedback loops. The community becomes trapped in a cycle of over-policing driven by an automated system. An audit is the forensic tool needed to uncover these hidden prejudices, revealing how a system might be systematically disadvantaging certain groups. A primary shield used to deflect calls for algorithmic audits is the claim of trade secrets. The financial industry provides a powerful precedent. A bank cannot refuse to have its books audited by claiming its accounting methods are proprietary. We have established controlled disclosures, access for regulators only, and the publication of redacted summaries. An effective algorithmic audit regime would not mean dumping source code onto a public GitHub. Instead, it would involve trusted, independent third-party auditors. The principle is simple. When your product has the power to deny someone a loan, a job, or their freedom, you forfeit the right to absolute secrecy. At its core, the demand for algorithmic auditing is a demand for evidence-based accountability. Right now, the answer is often, the system decided. It creates a profound accountability vacuum where no one is held responsible for the outcome. Denied because your debt-to-income ratio exceeded the model's threshold of 43%. This evidence is not just for the individual, it is essential for legal accountability. It shifts the power balance slightly back toward the person affected by the decision. Automation without responsibility is a recipe for injustice. The first major objection lies in their fundamentally dynamic nature. Financial books are a record of the past. Algorithms are living systems. The algorithm that made a loan decision this morning could be substantively different from the one that will make a decision this afternoon. This raises a critical and perplexing question. What precisely are we supposed to audit? The process would be a perpetual and costly game of catch-up, with any audit report becoming almost instantly obsolete. The model, the data, the outcomes, the decision thresholds? Answer: probably all of them, which is complex and costly. A second powerful argument against making algorithmic logic fully transparent is the very real risk of people gaming the system. The world of search engine optimization is a classic example. An entire industry mobilizes to exploit it. If rules for identifying fraudulent transactions are public, fraudsters will re-engineer their schemes to bypass those very checks. Any framework for auditing must therefore balance transparency with robustness. Audit processes must verify fairness and accuracy without creating an instruction manual for how to cheat the system. Beyond the technical challenges is the potential for a severe, innovation chill, particularly for startups. Layering on a heavy-handed auditing regime could create a crushing compliance burden. Large established technology giants have deep pockets and armies of lawyers. They can easily absorb the costs. In fact, they might even welcome such regulation, as it creates a significant barrier to entry for smaller, more agile competitors. This could make startups overly cautious, discouraging them from experimenting with novel approaches or tackling difficult problems. Perhaps one of the most profound arguments against a purely compliance-based audit regime is the danger of creating a false sense of safety. The system may be statistically unbiased, but its purpose is to facilitate the exploitation of labor. An audit focused on technical metrics would miss this. This creates a risk that audits become a form of ethics washing, a procedural checklist to gain legitimacy without making substantive changes. An organization could deploy a deeply problematic system, and when faced with public outcry, simply point to its clean audit report. Audits don't equal morality. They are a tool for surfacing structure, but they are not a substitute for broader ethical deliberation and human oversight. As the fierce debate rages on, a practical middle ground is beginning to take shape. It focuses on auditing the outcomes of the algorithm, not just its internal mechanics. Instead of asking, does the code contain biased variables? We should ask, does the system produce biased results? Outcome audits also let us examine long-term feedback effects often missed by static code reviews. This provides concrete evidence of harm without requiring access to proprietary code. Another key component is the concept of risk-based auditing. Not all algorithms are created equal. A system that recommends a new song is fundamentally different from one that recommends a prison sentence. High-stakes systems, those used in justice, employment, finance, and healthcare, would face mandatory, regular third-party audits. This tiered approach ensures that regulatory resources are focused where they are needed most, preventing the innovation chill. This new framework is built upon a secure handshake between industry and oversight, utilizing trusted third-party auditors and confidential regulator-only access. Crucially, it champions the individual's right to explanation. This is not a demand to show me the code, but a right to a human-readable justification for the outcome. That explanation gives the individual agency. It lets them check for errors and understand what they might need to change. Historically, whenever a system becomes abstract, scales massively, and affects livelihoods, society eventually demands oversight. Money went through this. Factories went through this. Now algorithms are next. If algorithms can deny freedom, income, or opportunity, treating them like unaudited black boxes is no longer acceptable. We are moving from an age of abstract power to an age of accountability, ensuring that as we delegate more of our world to machines, we do not abdicate our responsibility to uphold fairness, justice, and human dignity for all.